Ahoy! We have some news for New World. Some of that is interesting, the other aspect is more negative. We'll take the good with the bad, I guess, but let's talk about both. So, the first thing that was announced today was Secret Level, and in a way, this is a new marketing strategy for New World. So, Secret Level sounds pretty interesting. It's a TV show project, or a Prime Series project rather, of 15 episodes that are made by the team behind Love, Death and Robots, which a lot of you probably know from Netflix. Very worth watching. It's like separate mini stories that are very nicely visually designed. So that had very good popularity, and this is now being transferred over to video games essentially. So the same studio will be making these 15 short films that tell individual mini original stories in those universes of different video games. The games that are included here are Armored Core, Concord, Crossfire, Dungeons and Dragons, Exodus, Honor of Kings, Mega Man, New World Aeternum, Pac-Man, various PlayStation Studio games, Sci-Fu, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds, Unreal Tournament, and Warhammer 40k. So there's a lot going on. Obviously, not all of these games are equally high profile. Like I would not, for example, put The Outer Worlds or Sci-Fu in the same level as Warhammer 40k. So it seems that there is not necessarily a New World buying themselves in here, but rather a wide selection of different games that they are covering. I don't know what exactly the reason is for covering these games, if the creators of Love, Death and Robots just had a lot of artistic freedom there and could choose some of the games that they wanted to make stories about, or who decided what effectively went into this project. But of course, with this being on Prime and with Amazon being behind it, I'm sure they nudged them towards including New World Aeternum. Secret Level will not come out when New World Aeternum launches, quote unquote, but a little bit later. It will come out on December 10 this year. And we had already previously heard about this approach from Hartman, so we're seeing exactly what he was planning in action here. Let's see what they have to say about them themselves. Today, Prime Video announced Secret Level, a captivating new adult animated anthology series featuring original short stories set within the worlds of some of the most beloved video games, including New World Aeternum, an original IP developed by Amazon Games Orange County. The trailer debuted during the Gamescom opening night global livestream. You can check it out. New World Aeternum is a massive action RPG experience with hundreds of hours of content for players to explore and experience. Aeternum is a mysterious island that exists outside of time and draws people from around the world to its shores, and the lore offers rich, fertile ground for storytelling. This is interesting because I felt that for the longest time, at least, storytelling was something that New World really struggled with. I think someone external can, however, make of this story whatever they want, because the baseline is people can't die on this island, they can't get off this island, and other than that you can pretty much almost do whatever with the story, so whatever story you want to tell with those characters, you will be able to do. Part of our vision from the beginning is to develop and publish fantastic IPs that immerse and excite players in different worlds and find opportunities to extend those worlds beyond the games throughout transmedia opportunities where it makes sense, said Christoph Hartman, Vice President, Amazon Games. New World Aeternum is a great example of an IP that has so much potential for adaptation, and we're excited to see that explored in this episode of Secret Level. Seems like this guy here will be one of the main characters in the story. Apparently that's one of the guys you see early in the game on the shores. I wasn't even aware of that, but someone in Reddit pointed that out. Yeah, maybe that goes to show the recognizability of characters and depth of lore in New World, or it just shows my knowledge of the lore, whichever of the two. And Scott says about the whole thing, we're thrilled to share a brand new story and introduce more people to the New World universe through Secret Level. And then, of course, we get a teaser here for the new upcoming 1v1 game mode. Just kidding. This is just a duel that is happening in this show. This is the only picture we have other than the main guy so far. So, going to be interesting what they can make of this. It seems to play in the early areas. We see the shipwrecks in the background there, so in the starting area somewhere. we'll see how much of the game the person making that particular episode has actually played. I'm going to be curious how many references we see, especially if they go as far as maybe making some nods to some bugs or exploits that happens and put a joke in there. I doubt it, but I definitely approve if they did. But all in all, this content strategy is exactly what Hatman was saying about trying to combine the power of games and shows so you can advertise one with the other. I'm sure I will be watching this New World episode. I'm probably going to be watching all of these episodes, to be honest. And I'm also thinking that if the episode is well done, it will draw some players to New World. That happened, for example, for the Fallout series. I don't think it will happen to the same extent because we're just talking about one episode here. But I do think that there will be some slight pull in terms of player increase after this episode comes out. It just makes sense. It happened with almost any media in that format. One of the ones that really stands out in that regard was, for example, also the Cyberpunk anime, which I personally thought wasn't even on the same level as the game, but a lot of people liked it. I think it was just more their thing than mine, and it massively boosted the player numbers. But it wouldn't be New World if they didn't also do a marketing flop at the same time. In this case, they took down 2 videos that they had posted welcoming new players to Aeternum, likely because they had so much negative feedback, so many downvotes coming their way that they decided, okay, we're just gonna repost this later. And that's exactly what they did now. They reposted almost one-to-one the same video. The only thing that was changed was instead of calling it Touring Aeternum Episode 1 Welcome to Aeternum, which was already weird because of the naming overlap with previous series they had, they now renamed it to Discovering Aeternum Episode 1 Arrive. I will say that is most certainly a better title than what they originally went with, but other than that, completely unchanged trailer and reposted without any explanation obviously led to the thing being downvoted again. But it kind of works out in so far that it has less downvotes now than last time because it also has way less views because people are just not clicking on it anymore. So what I was thinking might happen seems to really be happening, where people are just paying less and less attention to the game in general. Things are just dying down, so they don't have to worry as much about negative feedback because no one's going to click on the video to even downvote it anymore, or no one's going to get notified of it in the first place, and then that's the result. I'm sure we'll see a surge in that regard closer to the console launch. I'm sure some people will want to warn new console players, so that might change things, but we'll also see how much that gets drowned out or how much comments about that will get deleted and so on. So yeah, not necessarily gonna be a case where everyone will be able to know everything beforehand if they're a brand new console player with how they're handling these uploads at the moment. Also, on a side note, the New World beta is now actually further away from the Throne and Liberty launch because that has been pushed back by 2 weeks, which means it's also roughly 2 weeks before the New World Aeternum launch, I think, meaning there's going to be a very small gap, and that's going to be awkward in itself. Let's see what happens in that regard. I don't know if they're going to push back New World or if they just want to release that on that schedule. We'll have to find out. For now, thanks for watching. I'll of course keep you updated, so consider subscribing and clicking the bell if you haven't yet. And thanks to my patrons for supporting this video. Sloth, out.